Welcome back to another edition of the 1216 podcast chapter review section with your boy 12. Before we go any further, make sure you guys hit that like button. Please drop a comment because we love going through the comments and just reading through what you guys have to say, thinking about your theories behind everything, and also what's coming up next inside the thoughts of our fans. Make sure you share, of course. If you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. As you all know, we love cover arts over here, and Ichiro Oda did not let down with this cover art again. Vegapunk, because he talked about it last chapter, how he wished he had more hands around him or more of him. And this is kind of what we got with the chapters. Vegapunk and all seven of his Vega Force, not Vega Forces, but all seven of his other personalities that's going inside that he needed extra hands with is there up on the cover art. But to jump into it, exactly we left off at last week with Kuma arriving to some island inside the East Blue. As Kuma arrives inside that island, Luffy bringing down the axe up on a giant tiger and giant alligator that he was wrestling against, fighting against. And we see in the background, Kuma was just looking on as he was hiding inside the forest watching. And of course, we all know how Dragon always faces a certain direction. He faces the East Blue. And of course, that's where not his hometown, but that's where his son is at. And him and Dragon, Kuma has a flashback to where him and Dragon spoke and says that it seems like you're very familiar with this island. And not just that, but also this area, the village here on the outskirts. There was a boy that seems to stretch his leg that he saw earlier. Dragon just tells him straight up, if you keep talking about this, you may as well kill me yourself. Because of the fact that Dragon is, his son is there. And Kuma brung it out of Dragon to say that his child, a child is a parent's weak spot. They kind of like brushed it off. Kuma looked like, oh, did you really just say that? But he brought it out of him, of course, and got, I guess Kuma is the only one who, no, he's not the only one, but I'm sure Dragon has told other people, of course, that Luffy is his son. But Luffy tells the alligator and the giant tiger that he was sparring with, the giant animals, of course, is going to help him take out big foes when he faces them. Out of nowhere, all you hear in the background is the transponder snail go off. And as Luffy turns around, Kuma disappears because Kuma's transponder snail went off. And Luffy, of course, just says that it was weird. He just felt that somebody was there that gave him the chills. So, of course, Luffy's observation haki is not quite where it's at right now currently. But, of course, he does have the feeling of it that it is there. And as Kuma pops back up to his own ship, we see that Kuma is parting ways with the Revolutionary Army again, and they go their separate ways as they continue their travels on because Kuma still is a pirate, but he's a pirate under the Revolutionary Army, of course. And he continues to write letters, and he writes letters and letters and letters to Bonney every single time he gets one. He wants to write one to her, which is a loving dad. He promised her that he will write to her every single time he gets a chance to. And as we go back to the Sorbet Kingdom, we see Bonney is looking on at the mail, trying to see what's coming in, what's coming in. Is there any mail coming yet? And it's nothing at all until we see one of the seagulls drop off the mail. Of course, it's the newspaper, and attached to the newspaper is a letter. And we see Alpha. Alpha looks on and reads the letter and says, "Oh well, another heartwarming letter. Oh well," and rips it up and throws it away. So of course, if you look at it now, Alpha's been doing this for a long time now. Bonney is starting to get worried because she's upset now that Kuma has not reached out to her, so she expects. But that's not the case. Alpha has been taking these letters, ripping them all up after she reads them and throwing them inside the trash. So Bonney, of course, being Bonney, is just waiting patiently. And of course, Kuma's letter is getting to her, and he's just telling her how much he loves her, and goes on and going with it, and just saying that he's going to write her soon again. And it's a very heartwarming letter. I would love to have seen Bonney realize that this is going on because of the next move that she does. She wants to spar. So Bonney is now sparring. Nobody wants to fight with her. They just say let's play Jenga instead. But she wants to fight. and Bonney turns into kind of like a muscle head. She looks like how Luffy did in a monkey form, which is also funny because of the fact that Bonney wants to have herself, not just herself, but her and Kuma unlock the mysteries behind Nika. Because, of course, we know that Kuma's race is tied to Nika in some form of fashion because of the stories that's been passed down from his father to him, now to Bonney, and the stories just keep going on with it. So, of course, Alpha comes in. She sees Bonney for a quick second and blinks. And of course, Bonney was inside the muscle form fighting, but pops down to a little girl again, back to her normal age. And Alpha's looking kind of disturbed, like, did I just see that? But she doesn't believe her own eyes. So she just brushes it off and just tells Bonney that it's time to take her medicine. Bonney hates the medicine, of course, but she continues to take it. And Granny Connie comes in and Gorgo asks Connie why they hiding it, and she just says that it's better to be safe. You know what they say, talented Hulk hides his claws, meaning that they don't want her powers to be revealed just yet to the government. And it's still weird how she got her powers because we didn't see her eat a devil fruit. So I'm still torn about, just is it just her will alone? What happened? Did a devil fruit slip inside her when Guinea was bringing her back to the island? It's a lot of things that's going on inside that I'm just thinking about right now. But of course, we jump over back to the Lavosphere, and well, not Lavosphere, but it's the Navy Science Division Lab 08. And of course, Vegapunk is doing it. He's actually living out his dreams that he said he would do, and he is able to lift the brain and the lab on the island with the clouds that he's making. He said everything right now is just a hologram, but he plans to make Punk Hazard like this too. At least he had a plan for it, and as well as we go forward, this is now how Egghead Island is a floating island. So Vegapunk has done it. He has removed his brain successfully, and now he has other assistants out there. His other Vegapunks like Edison, York, all of them are all out there, and they're now working as one Vegapunk in 8 different bodies. And we still see Kuma. Kuma sitting here. He's lying down. He's going through everything right now. This is now the process for where he has to become a pacifista, or a clone per se. And this sucks. Nobody wants to see him become a clone because he will erase his personality, and everything about him will just be a complete waste now. But as he sits there, he keeps writing letters to Bonney. Vegapunk looks at it. So of course we might have a talk later on down the line if Bonnie's alive still, of Vegapunk asking her has she ever received any of the letters, because it just goes to show you that Alpha was being a complete dickhead by not giving Bonney any of the letters. Kuma just says, he looks on at Vegapunk and says he's going to keep writing until time runs out, because Bonney deserves to know exactly how he feels. Doesn't want anything to go wrong with her. And of course, the Vegapunk Stutzy is just sitting there and just saying how sweet. And Bonney is now turning 9 years old. She was told that by 10 she will be cured of everything and she should be good to go. Back inside the homeland, we get a flash over and they're celebrating Bonnie's birthday. It's her birthday. They made her a giant pizza and she's just pigging out upon the pizza. And of course, she's still sad because none of the letters that Kuma sent her are coming through still. Kuma is writing them, she's just not receiving any of them. And she's upset because now that she's 9, she's mad with Kuma because Kuma said that he would write, but he has not written her yet at all. Another year and a half has passed without a single letter reaching the church. And of course, we cut away to the Revolutionary Army's headquarters in Baltimore, where Kuma came to rescue yet again. Kuma does his job the way he wants to do it, but it's something off now. And Sabo was realizing it, so was Dragon now, and they're starting to see a pattern that Kuma just shows up, does what he has to do, and then disappears off. And everybody's saying that he has his own reasons. We're keeping everybody inside the dark. Nobody knows exactly what's going on, and the fact that he's actually losing his emotions as we speak, and he's going through going through the change. First, we cut back to Bonney, and she says she's all better. All of the sapphire scales are off of her. She doesn't look like she's sick anymore. She says she can finally go outside. That's inside her mind. She believes this. But of course, Alpha doesn't want that to happen. Alpha wants to keep a tight leash upon Bonney until Vegapunk is done transforming Kuma into a pacifista. They want to keep this tight grip on her and not let her go anywhere. And of course, that's exactly what happens. Bonney is 9. They said they want to hold her until she's 10, but she's all better already now. And Alpha is just telling her lies to keep her under supervision until her 10th birthday. And Bonney is saying that you're lying. Vegapunk said I'll be fine after a year. It has been a year that passed, but they're trying to keep everything to a tight grip and not let Bonney realize that she's all good to leave now and get inside the sun. So what does Bonney do? She turns into an old lady that we've seen her do before that looks exactly like Connie, and she walks off and passes Alpha up, saying that she's going back to the pilot palace, and then runs towards the ship. They had a ship that was made for her exactly the way she wanted, a giant pizza ship. Alpha looks on. She goes back inside to try to give Bonney the medicine, but then she sees the old lady, Connie, inside there. And she realizes, didn't you just say you were leaving? Then takes off because she realizes that Bonney had switched herself up and disguised herself to get away from them. So as she takes off full speed, Alpha's running down there. She uses her 6 paths power, of course, because we know exactly that she has 6 paths power because she's the CP0 agent. And she flies towards the ship. She takes off, and as she's flying towards the ship, try to stop Bonney from leaving. Bonney just starts remembering everything going on. Bonney remembers exactly how Nika looked because of the way that Kuma described her. Bonney also knows that Nika's will is to also be free. So what does she do? Distorted Future comes in, and that's when Bonney swings her arm back, similar to exactly how Luffy looked inside of his monkey form when he was a buccaneer, and she gets that entire ability and just knocks out Alpha. She gives her one good punch and says, give me a Nika-ish future. She hits Alpha and sends Alpha flying back into the ocean as they set sail to escape forever. Bonney then realizes she has to keep herself disguised and she cannot be a child anymore because she's only 9. So she turns herself into a young adult and disguises herself as that because nobody knows how she looks. They've seen her older self, they've seen her younger self, but they have never seen the young adult Bonney. And this is how it ends, with a young girl heading for the future, and it's Bonney inside her form that we currently know her to be in. This chapter was very heartwarming to me. Of course, it's sad because we see that Bonney is not getting any of the letters that Kuma is sending, which is going to be later on down the line why Bonney was so upset with Kuma and upset with Vegapunk. I'm sure we get in there as we, little by little still. This was beautifully written, of course. Another banger. And just to see how Bonney can transform her body and just have the same exact arm that Nika has inside a buccaneer form and just punch Alpha directly right in the face and send her flying out with this distorted future just shows you that the will of Nika runs deep and can give people that certain abilities. Because I'm sure Bonnie's powers, the age fruit, does not 100% manipulate the body to its own will like that. But it might be the fact that she does has this fruit and she has the will of Nika that was passed down to her. She's not part of Buccaneer race. We know that for a fact because she's not Kuma's actual daughter. This is Guinea's daughter and a celestial dragon that Guinea had a baby with. He's by Kuma. So, of course, the feeling, the thought, everything around Nika as being this sort of god-like figure is probably coursing through Bonney, of course, and just showing her that she can do anything that she wants. And I think that's probably the part where it comes to play as This is why she's able to manipulate her body like this and make her arm as big as possible, kind of like Nika, to hit Alpha inside the face and send her flying. We do see that the funny scenes were acted out, of course, with between the interaction of Kuma finding out that Dragon Deals has a child, and Dragon's child, of course, being Monkey D. Luffy, was kind of one of those things. Was like, yeah, I'm glad this actually had to happen. But that goes to show that also just shows that they don't know the ties between Sabo and Luffy just yet, because of course Sabo lost his memory, and of course he's just sitting around trying to figure everything out. We are off next chapter. Next week there is no chapter next week. We will be back again. I believe it will be the something before Christmas. So we'll be back again with another chapter before Christmas. I cannot wait to see that chapter drop, because it'll be wrapping up, I believe, this flashback and just getting us back to the current timeline, most likely. Shout out to Oda. Oda is just goaded right now. He's dropping banger after banger, and I'm rocking with it. But again, rock out with us if you can. This is 12, signing off.